Hey, Chris, just when we think we have the Panthers figured out, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I'm going to stop trying. I'm going to stop trying to figure this team out. I would
love to have expectations for them in New Orleans, but hey, they might prove me wrong no matter what I think.
You know what? Let's just get this sucker started.
Yeah.
Get dialed in, Panthers fans. Here comes an in-depth look at your team. Exclusive interviews. Locker room insight. Let's huddle up for Panthers Playbook. Presented by Wake Orthopedics, a Wake Med physician practice. Here are your hosts, Dennis Cox and Chris Lea.
Welcome back to another episode of Panthers Playbook, and that's Chris Lea. Dennis Cox here with you. By the way, our podcast sponsored by Wake Orthopedics. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And also, what is your biggest takeaway so far through this season for the Carolina Panthers? We want to know your thoughts in the comments section because, Chris, you and I said it right there from the top. As soon as we think we have this Panthers team figured out, they come out and do something completely different. By the way, we said that in the podcast going into the Rams game, we weren't very optimistic. And we said if we were wrong, we would point at the scoreboard at Bank of America Stadium and say we were wrong. And that's what we did, letting off the show, being like, yep, Panthers won that one. I just can't figure them out. Like, they go from the Saints game to the Atlanta game to the Niners game to the Rams game. I don't know. I just don't know.
It goes back to the consistency that we've been talking about. Dave Canales has been talking about that as well. He sees it. He gets it. And one thing, I was having a discussion with somebody yesterday, Pat Welter at WRL. Mm-hmm. And we were talking about the Panthers. And he brought up a good point, so I want to give him a shout out on this. He said he doesn't ever remember seeing a coach go through the growing pains the way that we've seen Dave Canales go through the growing pains real time.
Yeah.
And like he's trying to figure it out. Like Bryce throws for 448 versus Atlanta. Oh, we're going to zip it against the 49ers and we're only going to run it 9 times. And then you go back to the Rams, you're like, let's run the ball. And you go back to what wins you games. You really only won one game zipping the ball through the air. So it's very interesting to kind of see the Panthers try to put it together real time, to see Dave Canales grow as a head coach and as a play caller in real time, and to watch Bryce Young try to figure out who he is. I wrote a column at WRLSportsFan.com, and I compared the Carolina Panthers to me at the age of 13. I'm sitting there with, my baggy clothes, you know what I'm saying? Got my Dada on, you know what I'm saying?
Okay,
Like the old school hip hop wear.
Yeah, I feel you.
Listening to Juvenile on my Walkman, you know what I'm saying? With the CDs. Kids don't know about that these days. You know what I'm saying? And, trying to look hard, trying to be older, but at the same time, playing with my yo-yo, doing my little tricks with my X-brain and all that type of stuff around the world. Oh, there we go. Boom, like that. And I don't know who I am. I'm still holding on to being a little kid and being a little immature while trying to show some maturity on the other side. And it really feels like that's where the Carolina Panthers are. Somebody hit me up and said, I was dissing them. I'm not dissing them. We're literally watching them grow up in real time. That's all I'm trying to say. And I'm not dissing them by saying it. And so you're going to see those growth spurts and those growing pains back and forth. And that's literally what we're watching right now with the Carolina Panthers.
We've used that term growing pains a lot, where we've seen the growth at times. At the same time, we've seen the pains. Like the Saints game, like it's not dissing when you're actually calling what it is. It's just stating simply what it is. And I think that's a great analogy. It's just that it's a young team overall. And I had to remind myself of that a couple of days ago. It's like, this is still Dave Canales' third-year play caller. It's Bryce Young, third-year quarterback. It's Xavier Legette, Jalen Coker, second year. Jadeveon Sanders, second year. It's Tyrell McMillan, first year. A lot of super young pieces, at least on the offensive side of the ball. Defensively, there's a little bit more maturity on that side. Obviously there's Princely Umamiela, Nick Scorton, and Trevin Wallace. We've seen obviously Latham Ransom getting his first start this past Sunday as well. Like team high team in tackles. But we are seeing a term that you used earlier this season, which actually a couple commenters actually used in our last game in the comment section, was like your kids with sleep regressions, right? They sleep all through the night. All of a sudden, they're just waking up. They're all fussy. Then they're going back to sleep through the night. It's that same type thing. The biggest thing that we can say about this team that is an absolute fact is that they're inconsistent. Like, no one can dispute that. You can say inconsistent, roller coaster.
That's not dissing them by saying
Hyde. It's not, because it's true. I mean, again, look at the last 4 weeks, the way they played against the Rams, the previous week, how they played at the 49ers, then before that against the Falcons, then before that against the Saints, then before that against Green Bay. Up, down, up, down. Can this team find stasis? That's the thing. Can they find a level of steady? Can they even the wings out? That's the biggest thing. Can you level the wings out for this team going forward? You got a bye week to rest, mentally reset yourself, and it's a sprint these last 4 games. If you win the 3 divisional games you have left, Saints, 2 against the Bucks, you're in the playoffs. You simply are. You are in the playoffs.
I've got a question for you, Dennis, and I want to relate this to sports, but we can also relate this to real life too. Sometimes when you're young, you're trying to figure things out, kind of what I was talking about before. You're doing things that aren't quite you, but you're still trying to figure out what you are. You want to be this, but then you figure out I'm better at this. You used to be a coach in lacrosse. Did you ever have a player that maybe tried to emulate a playing style that didn't suit their particular skill set? And you're like, hey, I know that this looks exciting, but if you do these boring things here, I'm promising you, your stats and your game will look so much better, because that's kind of what it feels like where the Panthers are. I really think Dave Canales wants to be that team that is going to throw for 448 every game.
Yeah,
it's not going to happen with Bryce Young, and that's not a diss. That's not saying he can't be a franchise quarterback. It's just not going to happen. It can happen. We've seen it happen. It's not going to happen every game.
No.
So you've seen that, right?
Oh yeah. So for those who don't know, I used to coach college lacrosse. I did it for 9 total seasons. And there are definitely some times where I had players that were, you see, like for example, in basketball or any other sport, I had players that wanted to just drive to the net. They thought they could just blow past people or work past people. And like that's just not your game. Like it's not working. You're not scoring on a consistent basis or being effective for our offense. I said, learn how to catch and shoot. Learn how to catch and shoot. I said, guarantee you're going to score more if you catch and shoot. And sure enough, they adapted their game. And all of a sudden, I talked to them at the end of the season. I said, you had the most goals you've ever had in a season in your life because you decided to buy in. I said, be a catch and shoot. You have other players that are trying to do the things that you're doing that are just better at it. So adapt your game. And they became catch and shoot players. And all of a sudden, their stats just went through the roof. So it's just the ability to adapt and also the willingness to adapt your game as well. Is that sometimes, for example, like you might want to be a receiver that, hey, I just want to run go routes, want to run deep shots. But no, actually, we need you to run underneath crossers, catch and get yards after the catch. Those kinds of things. So it's same thing with coaching and coaching style. There are times where I had to, as a coach, again, lacrosse, different sport, but it's the same mindset. I wanted to play an up-tempo run-it style. That was my philosophy as a coach. I was an up-tempo run-it style. Now, I didn't have the players always to do it, so I had to go into a half-field style of game, which is kind of like, got to pound the rock, right, in football? Hey, I got to grind out. I got to run the ball.
Yeah.
Whereas for me, I was kind of the equivalent offensively of like tempo, quick to the line of scrimmage, run, go, 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 putting pressure on teams. So again, you have to adapt your style to your personnel and just also to figuring out what fits for you. Like, you know what? You might not be able to do the things you want, but you have to be willing to understand the things that you need to do to win games. Yeah. That's what the big thing. It's finding out what you want to be, what you need to be, and finding the match between those two.
Yeah. Sometimes those can be, 2 different things. And, I even, this is different. This is not necessarily like a competitive sport. But as a pro wrestler, when I was in the ring, I wanted to be able to pull off certain things that Rey Mysterio did because I thought it was cool. I can't do that. Now, I do have some athleticism. I could jump high. I could do, springboards from the, standing on the ring apron, boom, top rope, go up, looking like AJ Styles. I could definitely do that. But when it came down to flips and different things like that, or certain dives and all that outside the ring, hey, I tried it. It didn't look good. It hurt. And I figured out the crowd wasn't reacting to it because it didn't look like anything cool. So if I did something simple that for me didn't feel like much, but suited my natural skill sets, then it was like, what? I'm getting this is awesome chance by not even leaving my feet,
Yeah. I think
so sometimes you have to really understand who you are. It may not be what you have in your head. You just got to understand who you are.
And I think we're hitting the nail on the head on what the Panthers are figuring out.
Yeah.
Is that sometimes you overthink things just way too much. I was guilty of it as a coach myself. So trust me, like I overthought things all the time. Because sometimes it's just that simple. If like, you know what, let's just line up and run power to the right and pick up 4.
Yeah.
And then sure enough, this last game, it was lean heavy on the run game. The good balance of how they mixed in Chuba Hubbard and Rico Dowdle in terms of how they split carries and playing time. A good balance that guys were fresh coming in. They were able to change the pace a little bit, use a little bit of different running styles. Then all of a sudden you're at, hey, it's 3rd and 2. Or it's 4th and 2. 4th and 3. Hey, now we could take a shot here. Because now we have the defense pressing up and anticipating to stop the run. And then, hey, Bryce is able to hit Jalen Coker. Bryce is able to hit Tedderoll McMillan. Because you set yourself up by keeping it simple in terms of philosophy. Sometimes it really is that. Just don't overthink it. Sometimes, again, we try, and it's human nature where we try and do too much. Where we just simply try and do too much.
I want to stay right there really quick because the Panthers scored 2 4th-down touchdowns, okay?
Yeah.
Versus the Rams.
Which is
on the same player, by the way. Emmanuel Forbes did not have a good game in that regard. But now teams are going to see that. Panthers are going for it. It's 4th and 2, and they're on our 44. Oh, what's going to happen? I mean, we got to make sure that we can stop, Rico Dowdle or Chuba Hubbard, but then Tedderoll McMillan or Jalen Coker might beat us over the top. What do we do?
Yeah.
And when you get defenses in that mode, now you're able to kind of play your game.
Everything's open
to it. And so like you're getting to something right there where it's like now same thing that Shanahan would do. Like, okay, we may only be getting, 2 to 3 yards per carry with Christian McCaffrey, but we're going to get you to sell out to stop the run, and we're going to hit you over the top. And then now you're not sure what's going to happen, or we're going to use play action to get to something else, or we're going to use our screen game. And because you're so into the box right there, trying to stop the run, looking at Christian McCaffrey, even though he's only getting 2 to 3 yards per carry, it's starting to get to a point to where, and now they have to follow through it every game, use this to their advantage, but it's starting to get to the point to where you're realizing what makes you work. And we heard during the game that the Panthers have the highest 4th down conversion rate in the NFL.
Yeah.
Part of that is because, there, I think, have been some missteps in calling plays in downs 1 through 3. And so you end up getting in desperate situations where you need to have that 4th down conversion so you can stay on the field, because you've probably punted way more than what you've needed to this year. But then the other part of that is having playmakers that's been able to like come up at the right moments. And so very, very proud with where they're at right now, but there's still work to do. And, I said it on Sunday. We saw what happened the last time you beat a team that you weren't supposed to beat. You came back and lost to the Saints. Now you got a week to think about it.
Yeah. And
don't come back and lose to the Saints.
You got the Saints again. It's also, speaking of the 4th downs, one of the things that I appreciated from Dave Canales talking after the game, I think it came if he said it Sunday after the game in his presser, or if he said it Monday during his availability, was that the aggressiveness on 4th down, because of the mindset that they have of going for it on 4th down, is that Some of the fourth downs have been out of necessity. Hey, you're trailing in the game. There's 4 minutes left. We got to go for it.
Yeah.
But also, he said, I had to look on the other sideline and say, that's the Rams offense over there. We can't give the ball back to them.
Right.
Like, we have to extend drives if we can. That's was part of that. I was like, he understood that, you know what? In order for us to beat that team, we got to keep the ball in our hands. And we have to be aggressive going for a fourth down. He didn't coach scared. He didn't coach
And I know you love that. I know you love that.
You
love the aggressiveness.
I absolutely do. Remember my coaching philosophy I just talked about a few minutes ago?
Yeah.
I love that aggressive style. So the fact that he recognized on the other sidelines, like, that's Matt Stafford, that's Sean McVay, and that group of receivers and just that group of talent that's on the other side of the field, I can't afford to just lose possessions punting the ball away around midfield. I can't afford to do it.
What is that? What you're describing? Because remember when we talked about the first game of the year, he felt like that a first-time head coach in his very first NFL game out-coached the coach that already has a year. Dave Canales is learning how to control the game as a coach now.
Yeah.
He's learning, and we're seeing it. Going back to what my guy Pat Welter was saying, like, it's been interesting watching somebody go through the growing pains in real time. And have the amounts of ups and downs that he's having. And so I would say this, as much as we've been hard on Canales, you're starting to see it. You're starting to see what it could be. There's an argument that maybe he got the job a little bit too early, right? Maybe if he would have been a play caller for a couple more years with another team, he could have, gotten himself together and really understood it, because he's only a play caller, 1 year before coming to the Carolina Panthers, and you have to learn how to be a head coach and become a better play caller on that. But seeing it, and now that he's had these 2 years of experience, I'm excited to see what he's going to do next year and how he grows from this, because there's still some things to figure out from there. How do I get my team ready in the preseason? Because I don't think they won a preseason game under him. I think they went 0 for this year, 0 for last year. Not that it means anything, but it means something, because you start the year off sluggish, 0-2, last 2 years.
Oh yeah,
how do you
I think
change
it's more
that?
or less the how do you adapt your? I mean, this would be good off-season conversation, but again, in terms of what do you learn about yourself, about what works and what doesn't. I think that's why this bye week is so vital for them. Because now you can sit there, you can really self-scout. And oftentimes you see coaches in football, what they do is, all right, the defense, like the defensive coaching staff, will look at your offense and say, hey, this is how we would beat you. This is how we would defend against you, whatever it might be. And vice versa. The offensive coaching staff will look at the defense and go, or this is how we would beat you. This is what we're seeing as a flaw, whatever it might be. So you're able to do that self-scout. And then again, you have this sprint of 4 games to close out the year. You have a chance to really get healthy. You really do. Hopefully J.C. Horn is back off his concussion. Merrick's back off his suspension. Maybe Cade Mays is back. Maybe Robert Hunt eventually does come back at some point. Now you're actually looking to look healthy for that final push of the regular season. And then, like we said, Chris, they got to win. They got to win 3, and it's got to be the divisional games. They have to win the divisional games. If they win all 3 divisional games, you're finishing the season at minimum 10 wins, 10-7 at minimum, which in that case as well, Tampa Bay is going to be sitting there at this pretty much the same record, but you would have the head-to-heads because you've beat them twice. You are in the playoffs. It's real possibility, Chris. It's a real possibility.
Got to do it.
Got to do it.
I'm trying to find this picture because here we go.
Okay.
You brought up Robert Hunt, and I just remembered me doing that interview with him, just to let people know I'm 5'9", about 25 pounds, about the size of a running back, right? So if you look at the size of a running back and you look at the size of this man right here,
he's a massive individual.
Like, what? We need this back in our line.
He's a massive individual.
Look at that.
Massive.
I could literally, he could unzip himself and I could fit inside. You know what I'm saying? Just it's crazy. That is a massive guy. Robert Hunt, we're cheering for you. We hope you get back healthy very soon, because look, and Jake Curhan, you did a great job.
He did.
But we need this. We need that back.
Folks, leave your thoughts in the comments. Can this team make the playoffs? Yes or no? Can they make the playoffs?
Sure can.
I mean, obviously, mathematically, it's there, but realistically, do you think they can make the playoffs? I think they can.
Do you think that the team can finish the last 4 games off 4-0?
It's possible. Seahawks are going to be difficult. Seahawks are going to be
They
difficult.
beat the Rams, though.
I know.
The Seahawks are at home, and that's a possibility. That game gets flexed to a Saturday night prime time too. So
we'll see. We'll see about that.
Yeah.
We shall see. We'll see you all next week.